Time for another LED install. The Turbo Duo does not really have a power indicator LED. It has an LED right here to show when the CD-ROM is busy. But other than the switch itself having an orange side on it, there is no indication of power. So this customer wants a red LED placed right here in this trench between the on and off text. And I think that's going to look quite good. And I happen to have a very specially formed, a very tiny LED that I can put into a very, very small hole. And it'll fit just right in here. This is the drill bit that I'm going to use. And as you can see, it's almost half the size of that trench, so it's going to be perfect. Let's see if I can zoom in on this LED a little bit here. As you can tell, it's not a typical 3 or 5 millimeter LED. It's shaped quite differently. Perfect for drilling a hole and press fitting it, and if I need to, I'll put some hot glue on the back of it to keep it in place. So all I really need to do is put the drill bit in the drill and make my little hole right there. Push the LED in the back, solder the other end to power and ground. The resistor is already soldered to the LED. Its value was calculated on ledcalc.com, and it's based on the 3 things that you need to know about the LED. The supply voltage, which on most retro consoles is going to be 5 volts, 4 voltage, and 4 amperage. Punch those into LED Calc and it'll give you the value of the resistor you need to use. I may be stumped already. The actual slider mechanism covers that little area that I want to put the hole in. Maybe if I bend the leads on that LED to the side, there'll be just enough room to get it in there. But I want to be damn sure, because I don't want to make a hole in the shell if it isn't going to work. Okay, so I talked to the owner and let him know what was going on. So instead of putting it down here between the text, we're going to put it about halfway up between where it says power and on and off. So all I really have left to do is drill the hole in the right spot. As you can see, there's some plastic ribs towards the top and towards the bottom, so halfway should be just in the right spot. And yeah, right in between the ribs, so should be good to go. It doesn't come up quite flush, but that's okay. That just means the plastic of the console's thicker than the end of that LED, and it's not quite secure, so I am going to put a little extra hot glue on top of it. I'm just going to put the slider switch back on top of it, make sure it's not catching anything, and it's not. So that's good. Let's fire up the hot glue gun and glue it down. Okay, the hot glue gun is ready. Just going to kind of smother everything. Let that cool a little bit. And we'll solder it to power and ground and test it out. Okay, so one of the last things I need to do for the LED mod is to simply solder power and ground. Now, since it's going to be flipped over, I was kind of thinking there are two caps down here. Looks like C914 and C904. That each side is power and ground. And that I could probably fairly easily, just solder each side on that cap. Now, of course, what I want to be sure of is which side of the cap is power and which side is ground. So obviously the housing of the power switch is ground, so it looks like the inside of that cap is ground. And if I go over to the 7805 and touch the very right leg, that should be 5 volts. And then, if I touch the outside of C914, I get continuity, so that's 5 volts. Okay, here we are, all buttoned up, and there's the LED. Looks quite nice in real life. It doesn't really show up that strong on camera. Maybe if I turn some lights out here. A little grainy, but you get the idea. I think it looks great.